When I was pretty young from an industry standpoint, one of my mentors told me that it's always good to sit with sales to understand what is happening in the world. They will be able to solve your problems in a much better fashion rather than you thinking from Google standpoint or any other standpoints.
Technology has transformed how we live, work, and connect. And behind that change are visionary people with bold ideas. Welcome to the Bridgecast, where host Scott Kinka explores hybrid work, AI, and our evolving future with tech's brightest minds. Presented by Bridgepoint Technologies, the nation's leading tech advisory firm. Experience a better way. The Bridgepoint way.
Marketing is becoming more data-driven, personalized, and interconnected than ever before. As businesses adopt to a new era of hybrid work, the demand for innovative AI-powered marketing strategies that drive brand engagement and customer loyalty is growing exponentially. It's also where technology leaders and marketing departments are colliding. Welcome to the Bridgecast. Today, I'm excited to sit down with Tamanna Chanana, who is the campaign program and events lead for Snowflake. You all know Snowflake. They are making data fun. She's got over 8 years of experience in B2B marketing. Tamanna has been at the forefront of demand generation, content marketing, field marketing, and she's been leading transformative campaigns that drive campaign and company growth and awareness. Her journey is a powerful testament to how creativity and data-driven strategies are shaping the future of marketing. And today she's here to share her insights on the role of influencer marketing, the evolving hybrid work environment, and how marketers can navigate today's rapidly shifting landscape in partnership with IT. Tamanna, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Scott. It's an amazing intro, to be honest, and I'm glad that I'm a part of the show. Thank you so much for having
How'd we
me.
do, by the way? You picked that up? We did okay? Sucking
Yeah.
information out of your socials there?
Yes, definitely. I think you did justice to that.
And what are your parents going to say at my pronunciation of your name? How'd I do? Was I okay?
Yeah, I think they'll be quite happy because usually I end up asking people to call me T or Tamming. So I think for now it was pretty good.
I like the for now. And if I'm just going to go right into the trend, we're gonna do Tammy the rest of the way, if that's
Yeah,
okay,
that's
or
good.
T. Well, I love that. Before we dive into your work,
Sure.
I'd love for you to share with us kind of just a moment. Give us a defining moment or experience from your journey to maybe shape the way you think about marketing in this tech-led environment.
Sure, definitely. So I'll love to give a quick intro and then maybe I'll share some quick updates about what I have been doing over the last couple of years. So, Scott, as you rightly mentioned, I have been in the B2B space for almost 10 years now. And it's been an incredible journey for me because when I started off, I was just an engineer fresh out of college who had no idea what coding is, to be honest. And I was quite passionate about art and technology. That is where my heart and soul lied. And that's where my passion for marketing stood out. And that's how I'm built till date. So over the last 10 years, quick snippet from starting off with a small agency to understanding how and what marketing does to running the entire show here in Snowflake. I think it's been an incredible roller coaster for me as well. So I have worked in different industries from advertising, media, e-com to tech, and it has drastically changed. With the world that is changing in terms of technology and marketing, definitely there's a lot of collaboration that is required. And while I have been in the B2B space for last 8 years, one quick snippet that I've realized, not all and everything in B2B has to be boring. So you can make anything and everything very interesting. It's just about thinking from a customer standpoint rather than just thinking from the product standpoint. And I personally believe that customer is your king. So please step into their shoes and then talk about your product and market it in that way. So, yeah.
Got it. Is that what you mean? I've seen some of your material. You talk about T-shaped marketing. Can you describe that? Is that a play on on Tammy, or is there something else there on the T? Tell me about T-shaped marketing.
So this is something very funny, to be honest. So I usually quote myself as a T-shaped marketer or a full stack marketer, because whatever has come over the last 8-10 years, one thing that is very consistent is that I have gone deeper into every aspect of marketing. So from inbound marketing to SEO to content to influencer to field to demand gen, I've done it all, but the heart and soul always lies into content. So that is what a T-shaped marketer is all about. And I fondly, during my interviews, say that T doesn't mean Tamanna here. It means the T shape of the marketing. So yeah.
Got you. Got you. One of the things I mentioned in the open that you've done quite a bit of talking about is influencer marketing. And it's, coding and data science and all the things that you bring to marketing, it feels like one of the areas that's probably the softest, right? It's hard to figure out what the ROI is. It's generally a content thing. But for those of the, we have a tech audience here and they hear this influencer marketing thing coming from out of their marketing department. Can you just describe a little bit about what influencer marketing is?
To be honest, influencer marketing doesn't mean the way you have seen it into the B2C space. Okay. What people usually think that I open a app and I'm checking the Instagram, the people promoting the products is an influencer. No, that is not the case in B2B. Okay. B2B marketing, influencer marketing is very different from what you see in B2C, but it is very mapped as well. So the whole idea for B2B marketers and influencer marketers is that try and find the right people who actually understand your product to a core level. So there might be consultants out there. There might be people who really love to talk about one particular technology or try to understand different things. I'll give you a quick example from my experience at Whatfix. So in Whatfix, there are we try and get deeper into L&D folks. Okay, so I used to run a podcast called the Digital Adoption Show for them, where we used to bring in L&D influencers, L&D leaders to talk and share about their set of experiences. So there are two different set of influencers that you can always reach to. One set is the consultants, where who actually know the technology to a deeper level and they are trying to promote. And in these consultants as well, there's another bucket, which is more of like a thought leadership folks who really want to spread the word about these technologies, who are not the core keeper of these technologies. They are basically the sole promoters. So these are the two sets. The other set is the L&D leaders who are actually inside these companies, and they are basically your champions. So you have to nudge them. You have to make them your as an inside internal champions who can promote your products internally. Because even if I have to give you examples from top ID folks or ID companies, they are huge. They don't have one particular unit taking care of everything. They have multiple units taking care of, and plus geography wise also it is very divided and bifurcated, right? To maintain the whole idea and to maintain the entire decorum, you need internal champions there. So these are the two different set of influencers that you can always reach to. From an IT perspective and from a technology perspective, you have to be very proactive in understanding what kind of route do you want to take. Do you want consultants to lead the entire jazz for your product, or do you really want the internal champions in these companies to spread the word about your technology inside? Because they are the sole owners. They can promote your things internally in a much better way because they know the product and they know the use cases much better. So from a technology standpoint, you have to understand what is the right way, how is the right direction to lead the entire marketing unit. So yeah, that's all.
And how do we think about using those influencers? I mean, is it formats like this primarily? I mean, you're a podcast host yourself. I think you have a podcast called Brand Talkies, which is maybe how we ran across you. But like if you were in executive leadership or you're in IT leadership, and then in particular, you're working for a tech company today, you think about your internal champions, how to use them in today's marketing, this hybrid world, always on, phone right in front of you. How do we get the most bang for our buck out of our influencers?
If you go on LinkedIn, there are few people who really love to talk about their own knowledge, their own use cases. For example, I'll give you an example from my LinkedIn itself. I have been writing on LinkedIn for almost 5, 6 years now, and particularly very focused towards marketing. And marketing is very diverse, you know. You can either be a perfectionist in branding or performance marketing or inbound or B2B. So you have to find your niche. What exactly do you want to go ahead and do? So you go and find these people who are in your niche. If I have to divide it from an IT standpoint for you, if you're trying to sell an SaaS product, okay, to basically someone who's a who's a HR leader, and they are basically an influencer inside the entire org. So the basic thing that you have to do is how proactive the person is. Okay. You keep a track of that, and then how you can actually, in terms of generate the ROI from that entire conversation, is you get these people on your forums and let them go and be a spectator of you. Maybe like, for example, you usually see customer testimonials, right? The new era of customer testimonial is taking them out on the forums, letting them speak their story out and telling the world that this is what exactly it is happening, and this was my use case, this was my problem statement. Are you actually able to relate? And if you do it in the specific industry itself, it actually changes the entire mechanism and the whole mindset as well. Like a person in XYZ consumer goods. Let's take an example from PepsiCo. If there's someone who's an HR leader and already using a SaaS product in their organization, and you take them to a forum which is very consumer focused industry, they'll be able to relate to it really well. And based on the registrations that you are able to drive using it, that is when you are able to calculate your ROI as well, because people can relate to their specific use cases. If I go and ask this person to go and narrate the story in another industry or a retail industry, the person might not be able to relate to it, and you might not get the similar ROI. So you have to go deeper from a sales funnel point of view as well. That from an ROI standpoint, one of the basic things that you have to do is play smartly in terms of either with the industry or with the geography.
Makes perfect sense. So let's tie that back, if you wouldn't mind. Speaking of influencing into the market that you're speaking to, right? As we know, our listeners are largely business executives, IT leaders, and we've been talking about content generation. Behind that, then there's the execution on multi-touch marketing. There's personalization. There's AI. There's all of these things require a bunch of tech, right? So the challenge I see in the field is that that's not always the skill that marketing has. Clearly you do, but it's not always understood. What we're trying to accomplish is not always understood by IT. So we have this like intersection now of, the marketers want to be creative and they need to generate ROI, and generating ROI requires all of this tech, but neither understand each other in a lot of ways. Can you give your peers, right? I'm thinking other marketers right now, advice on how better to work with IT. And then I'll spoil it. I'm going to ask you the question in reverse. Give the same advice to IT leaders about their marketing peers.
Definitely. See, while I was working at Whatfix, there have been instances where we had to collaborate with the engineering tech teams to make our events up and running, to create products out of scratch. So definitely a great kudos to all the engineers out there. The whole idea for why I'm saying that is because they are the brain. We have ideas, they are the executors for us. At times I've created few things out of scratch just because of their brain, which actually made the entire influence in driving the entire interaction as well. So, Scott, to be precise, I'll give three advices to marketers and then parallelly followed with IT folks. Always document what is expected from a marketing standpoint. Quick snippets, always create framework which has very resonated to them, or give them examples from the previous things that you have come across or any ideas that you have come across. There's never an idea which is not non-existent from a marketing standpoint. We always take a references from different things that is happening. right? First thing marketer has to do is document the entire thing in a way that the IT folks are able to understand. Second, they should be able to narrate the story in what is expected out of it. Like, I'm creating this landing page. What is the expectation out of this landing page? If I'm an events person, I'm creating this event page. I want people to fill these forms, and what would be the outcome and how their attribution will be calculated. Okay. One of the major problems with marketers is we don't tell the outcomes to the engineer as well, because they are also not able to understand what is the justification of the work that they did. What is the ROI they were able to crack with the entire landing page? What was the outcome? So it's always important to have a whole situation and please share it with them upfrontly and create a transparency there. Third advice is always have weekly cadence with them. What is the progress? What is the problem statement? Is there a creativity issue? Is there a technology issue we both can resolve? Is there something that is still unclear so that you can resolve it then and there? So these things have really helped me build a good rapport with my IT teams. I hope the same helps to your listeners as well.
Well, I think what's interesting is, and not to get nerdy here, but we can get nerdy sometimes on this show. You basically just laid out running Agile with your dev team, right? I mean, the story writing is as a blank, I need a blank that does blank and produces, blank output, right? Your weeklies, your stand up. I mean, now granted, like every development team, every back office IT team is not going to be working in Agile, but it is still the predominant methodology for IT teams and in particular development teams to work. I do have one challenge, and we're totally off script here, but since you're doing it, let's do it. One of the challenges I sometimes have is, if we're clear, like marketing says, as a X, user, I want to do a thing and it's going to produce X result. But sometimes the reality of it is that the result is constrained by the selected system already, right? Like the CRM can do this. The events platform that I bought can do this. The, HubSpot can do this. So sometimes as a marketer, we're like, I'd love to do this, but I don't know if the platforms that we have are even capable of doing it right now. So like, this is just a short corollary to your question. How do you write that story as a marketer when you don't always know, you don't have clarity yet? You're still in creative mode. Like, do you just go, I'd like a thing that does a thing? Do you try to get a little bit prescriptive? Like, how do you rationalize those two things together?
See, there are always such instances, to be honest, because as marketers, we are free butterflies. We just try to hop from one flower to another. That this is something that we found in this particular conference, which was very amazing. So we should do something really similar before understanding the gravity of the whole IT team and what is the capabilities they bring on the table. So I think from a marketing standpoint, we should also justify what is required and how it is required, rather than just running to the IT teams to develop things for us. The easiest thing is try and find an alternative so that they can refine that. Like you said, things are available on HubSpot, things are available on Salesforce as well, which can easily ease down your job. But to tell them that this is the exact idea I want to pop in, it's better to create a proper layout out that this is what is expected. These are the few examples that I can think of. Or maybe, is this something that we can do in phase 2, not in phase 1? So it's always good to give them that kind of timeline as well, because ideally you can't expect them to do it everything in phase 1. So it's better to give them that kind of timelines, let them run the show and let them get back to you with the outcomes. You definitely have 10 things going out at the back of your head, but we can always ease it, right? So yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. You did just say the magic word. You said Salesforce a minute ago, which as I'm thinking about, kind of traditional campaign work, maybe even specifically around like ABM, account-based marketing strategies, we've now got a third partner in this interaction. So marketing and IT, and then ultimately somebody in sales has to do something with that. So I'm going to ask you for another best practice. How best to loop sales in on the model so that this marketing and IT partnership works well where everybody generates an ROI?
When I was pretty young from an industry standpoint, one of my mentors told me that it's always good to sit with sales to understand what is happening in the world. Okay. They will be able to solve your problems in a much better fashion rather than you thinking from Google standpoint or any other standpoints. So this is what I even advise to a lot of young marketers as well, that it's important to sit with your sales team. Try and understand what is happening on ground in terms of their daily interactions. There might be instances, there might be problem statements that you'll be able to solve then and there with the whole idea of collaborating. So I think one of the quick and easiest thing that I have followed over the last 10 years is that I've always sat with salespeople every now and then to understand what is their pain point. And then I have looped them into my marketing strategy with my IT team as well. That this is the exact problem and this is what the customer is asking in terms of solution. Can we try and develop the similar thing? And if the answer is no, we try and evaluate different options. If still the answer is no, we try and see or benchmark it for the upcoming quarters, but we never say no to that thing. So there's always a backup option that we keep. And from a sales interaction standpoint, I believe it actually gives you an extra liberty as a marketer as well, because that's when you can twist and change your campaigns in the right direction.
Got it. I love that. I'm gonna give you a quick hit, and then we're gonna have some fun questions. All right. So here's the quick hit. If you were hired as a consultant to do the job that you do now for Snowflake and others, the past jobs you've been in, but you've been hired as a consultant with a small to mid-sized company with a limited budget. All right. And they've got like one big play to make. Kind of like, what's the first step? What's the main thing they should be focusing on their dollars right now in terms of how end users are consuming marketing? But where would they be? Where would you place the bet if you really could only place one bet?
To be honest, this is the question that a lot of people have asked me, especially from SMB standpoint. You go and sit, like I said in the previous answer, you go and sit with your customers. Why do they use you? Okay. So you have to have the answer for that. And what is their pain point? Your customers can resolve 100 problems that you are facing right now. And then you sit with your prospects as well. That what is the problem? Where is the gap between why they are not purchasing to why they want to purchase it? Okay. So always is invest in that. Take the inputs from there and then ask your marketing team to run the show. Because whatever money that you pour in will be wasted until and unless you actually understand what is the ground reality. I've seen a lot of startups failing just because of the same thing. Because they try and invest their money too much on their ads, too much on their inbound marketing efforts, too much on their things. But so you have to actually clean your content in the right direction. And that will only happen with the sales interaction and the customer interact. You have to understand what happens between your prospects and customers. And once you resolve that, your content, everything will be refined and marketing will be amazing.
Yeah, it's such a salient point because I see, we work with technology companies of all sizes at Bridgepoint. We've got 350 partners in our ecosystem, and some of them are super unique companies, but have yet to figure out how to describe themselves. You know what I mean? In a way that's salient. We always say, like, tell us your superpower first. And I think we see this with technology startups. You see a lot of investment in money where we're in love with the technology without really understanding what the tech, it's the sort of the leaders are the innovators, and they are like, they want to talk about the thing they made, but you're obsessed with the thing, not what the thing does. If you get what I'm saying? So it's sort of easy to get lost in our own tech as opposed to what that tech's going to deliver. Does that resonate?
Yeah, definitely. It does. I've seen it myself. So yeah.
Completely. All right, let's have some fun. So T, this has been really interesting. Kind of a look behind the marketer's door for IT teams. And we will definitely You kind of pitch the episode that way. I hope we get, our IT listeners to really kind of dig in on this, because this, you represent one of their biggest audiences internally, right? And you're doing it in a tech company, multiple tech companies over the last couple of years of your career. Let's have some fun though. I'm going to ask you just a few rapid fire questions before we let you go. So first one, I just need a prediction, something bold, something shameless. Next 12 to 18 months, we'd love to revisit and see how you did. Doesn't need to be about tech. It certainly can, but give us a prediction.
Is it about my professional life, or do you want a personal answer?
You could say who's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't care, whatever you want, your call.
Next thing in my hit list is scuba diving. I want to go deeper inside the ocean and see what is happening internally. So I might pick up few things from there, because one of my friends told me a long back that once you go deeper into the sea, that is when you actually are able to find the crux of what is happening inside. So I might put it in my professional world as well, to go deeper into the product or from a sales point of view and make things interesting. So I'm yet to explore that. So that is a part of my next 12 to 8 months program.
Okay, I got it. I like it. Do you have anything that you're reading right now that you'd like to share with our listeners? Any, interesting business books or marketing books or even fiction?
There are 3 things I am currently up to. I usually love to read about technology updates. That is usually on Forbes, and there's a quick newsletter that I usually go through. It's called Marketing Max. Okay. And it has a lot of insights, new technologies, new product launches. That is something that I'm quite fond of. So I usually go and subscribe to that. And I have come across some amazing AI tools as well with that. And definitely that helped me with my podcast. So that is a quick hack for you as well. Plus, the third thing I'm reading is, this may sound quite creepy, but it's okay. I'm reading a novel on 7 lives. Okay, so this is basically a murder case story, but it is very interesting in terms of, and it's written by someone who has written Slumdog Millionaire. So I'm quite interested in reading these days. Yeah, so it's quite fictional. It's crazy, but yeah, that's a part of my read these days.
No, I love that. It's one of my favorite questions to ask, because you get some interesting insight on people. All right, last question, and then we're going to let you go. So, some creepy, I liked your use of the word creepy. Some creepy dystopian future occurs. What you can choose. Maybe AI takes over the world, or, there's some extinction level event, what have you. You're still around, and there's only one app that still works on your phone, but you get to pick which one it is. Which app would it be?
Oh, quite interesting, to be honest. Maybe I'll go with Spotify, because it helps me calm down my head. So yeah, with all the crazy songs.
That's my call. That, generally speaking, I always go for the music. If I'm trapped, I have no idea what else is going on. Usually, I get the qualifying questions like, "Well, are they still playing sports?" I'm like, "Hey, it's your future. You can choose." So, T, you're gonna just settle down, light some incense, put the headphones on, and you're like, "If the world's ending, I'm just gonna listen to some great tracks." No, I appreciate that. Tamanna, this has been super enlightening and hopefully valuable to our listeners, particularly those in IT. It's been amazing hearing about your journey, hearing about your insights. For listeners who maybe want to dive a little bit deeper into your work, whether that's at Snowflake or on your podcast, how do they connect with you? How do they follow you?
Okay, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm usually very open to have those conversations. And for my podcast, you can go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. It's with the name Brand Talkies, aka The BT Show. And there are a few upcoming episodes. So please stay tuned and have fun about marketing. Thanks, Scott, for having me here.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bridgecast. If today's conversation gave you something to think about, make sure you hit subscribe, leave us a review, share it with your team, and we'll see you next time on another episode. Thanks. Listen, if you made it this far, there must have been some good content, or you're just a fan or a relative of mine. In either case, we appreciate you spending your most valuable asset with us, your time. We don't take that lightly. We'd also like to say one more time that we're appreciative of Bridgepoint Technologies and their belief and sponsorship of this show. We hope that if you or someone you know is thinking about your company's digital transformation, or simply the next IT project that you may not have the resources, budget, or time to get to, I'm sure that Bridgepoint, one of the country's fastest growing technology advisory and procurement firms, can help. Check out bridgepointtechnologies.com. Don't forget the E on Bridgepoint, or simply reach out to me at skinka, SKINKA, at bpt3.net. Also take a minute, please, if you would, to give us a 5-star review on your favorite platform. It helps give us the visibility to reach other people like you. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Bridge. I'm Scott Kinka, and until next time, there's a lot of noise out there in business and in life. Do what you can to be the signal. Thanks.